I'm your host, Zin Labidin, and you are listening to Tech Tag Podcast.
Hey everyone, I'm Vijay, a data engineer working from Austin, Texas. I have a passion for technology and innovation. I've been in the tech industry for about 4 years, working on various projects ranging from data analysis to data architecture and solutions engineering. And today I'll be sharing my journey with all of you. So, yeah, let's go.
I'm excited to hear about your journey, Vijay. Welcome to Tech Tag Podcast.
Thank you for inviting me, VM.
It's my pleasure. Before we start, I am interested to know some fun facts about you, and you can share with us about your hobbies, maybe.
Sure, I can share some fun facts about me. I do have like a wide range of hobbies that I would like to do. I'm mostly an adventurous person, so you can find me after work. I'm usually like outdoors, and I regularly ride my bike around the trails here in Austin, Texas. And I do also have some other like hobbies such as singing, hiking, and traveling. And as a matter of fact, like I take singing classes specializing in rock music. I've been taking that for past 2 years.
Cool.
Yes, thank you. That's been going on for some time. And another fun fact about me is I'm actually a twin. So I have a sister who lives back in India, and
Mm.
she's married and she's working there. And we actually lived together for about 16 years. But it's a twin sister, but not identical at all.
Did she choose the same field as you?
Fortunately, unfortunately, no. She actually switched fields after 10th grade, because back when I was studying in the Middle East, you could switch fields after 10th grade. So you can either go into computer science or you can go into like biology. So my sister picked biology because she wasn't really interested in computer science. And also, I think that she also wanted to be in different classes than me because we were in the same section for a long time.
Nice. And it sounds also interesting to hear that you were living in Middle East. So we can start like to know more about your journey, how it started. Did you get into tech since your studies, or how the very first inspiration that led you in this path?
Well, for me, it didn't exactly start when I was in the Middle East. I did my whole schooling to 12th grade. I was studying in the Middle East in a place called Bahrain.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was there, mostly I was focused on, getting good grades at school. I mean, I was not even thinking about a career back then. All I cared about getting good grades in the subjects that I had. But after I graduated 12th grade, I happened to get admission in a college back in India called the National Institute of Technology in Tiruchirappalli. So it is way
Mm-hmm.
down in the southern part of India, and it's a pretty good college. It's one of the top 10 colleges in India. And I got into a course called the Electronics and Communications Engineering. So I did my bachelor's over there. During those bachelor's, I got my first internship at an e-commerce startup. And like any other internship, I was like, okay, this is like standard procedure, because my college also required that I have to do an internship to get credits. So okay, I'll just my friends are going for this internship, so I might as well go for the internship. I didn't care about technology or anything like that
Mm-hmm.
back then. But after I got this internship, I was hired in a like very random role. Like I used to wear many hats in the internship because it was very small startup, maybe like around 20 people. I was just moving around doing operations, sometimes doing data, sometimes doing like helping with customer support. And that is when I figured out that a lot of tasks that people were doing in different departments were very manual. Like we were using a lot of Excel sheets for entering
Mm.
data, and also like getting data from different websites and then manually entering it in the Excel sheets. That is for the operations part. And then the in the customer department, like there was this girl who was actually classifying sentiments, like after talking to the customers, were they happy, were they sad, were they angry. So she was like actually typing that in the Excel sheet after the
Mhm.
conversation. So yeah, I was thinking about all this, and I was kind of lazy. So like I want things to be automated where it can be automated, right? Is very natural, and it comes to me very naturally. That's when I started thinking, how can all of these tasks, be done automatically? And that got me into like Python.
Mhm.
And I started small, like Python tasks, data manipulation tasks. I got into like pandas, data frames back then. I was doing some data manipulation using pandas. Um, and for sentiment analysis, there were some very basic models, not like the one, the chat GPT and all that stuff you see back then, 5, 6 years ago.
Mhm.
um, there were some basic models which actually can classify or the transcript, and I was using that as well. So I got very intrigued back then, with all those tools, and I was thinking how I can learn more about technology. And I started learning about different technologies and how start applying them in my internship, which got me very excited in pursuing like a career in technology.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's how it started.
It reminded me what Bill Gates said. He preferred to choose the lazy person to do a difficult job because they will find an easy way to do it. And you wanted to do something to automate the process and to make it easy for others in a smart way.
Yeah, I did. It just comes to some people like naturally that you want to do that. While for some other people who have been in the field for a long time, like who have been using Excel sheets for a very long time, say like 5 or 10 years, they've been using it. The Excel itself would have been automation for them. Like
Mhm.
they don't think, what's the next step of automation we can do to Excel, right?
Yeah.
So their perspective is different, and I don't like judge them for that. It's just that automation is like abstraction. Like you need to always keep, like companies, startups, like always they keep abstracting code, and they keep making it better, and they keep moving on, right? So I really embrace that part of technicality in automation.
And you proposed a solution for them, right? And
Yeah.
how was that experience that you present a solution to the team? Was it easy to integrate or how was it?
Yeah, so what happened was, I first tried implementing this kind of automation in the operations team. So there was this Excel formula that you could write to get data from another website. It was kind of like making an API call, but Excel already had a formula for it. Sorry, it was not Excel, it was actually Google Sheet. They were using Excel also, but this was Google Sheet. But Google
Mhm.
Sheet actually had like a formula for getting data from another website. So what happened was, back then I did not know how all this technology worked properly. So I put the formula at the end of the sheet, maybe like at the 10,000 or something row. I didn't know where else to put it. I didn't know about, I didn't know how to write a Python script. So I just like put it over there. And
Mhm.
because of that, it crashed the whole Google Sheet. And it caused a lot of issues. Although they actually welcomed my suggestion, they were also skeptical of how this thing will work. The first time I
Mhm.
introduced it crashed it crashed the dock. So yeah, they
Mhm.
were really open to it, but kind of skeptical. But as time went on, I felt like I even though like I didn't completely implement it at the startup, like I at least introduced them to the idea of doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's also brave to try things out, like something new, so people can use it and discover about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does take some bravery. Like in this case, it didn't like break the whole system. It did not involve numbers or anything. It was just a Google Doc, right? But in case you're having a database which contains financial information or any sensitive information, I would say be careful. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. And then how did you progress in your career after that experience?
After that, my internship was over in like 3 months, and I was very passionate about Python and data science in general. That was a time when data science was slowly like picking up, and everyone was going crazy about data science as we're doing right now for Chat GPT and LLMs. So that was a data science craze back then in 2018. Yeah, so because of that internship, I applied for colleges in USA.
Mm-hmm.
Applied to about 9 colleges in USA, and I got accepted for 2 of them. And then I decided that I needed to go to the University of Texas at Dallas because it was a pretty good college, and their data science program was fairly mature. So I got an admit into that and accepted it and went and studied data science over there.
Mm-hmm.
But there were some like challenges also involved in going for higher studies in US after you finish your graduation in India. The some of the obstacles that I faced was getting letter of recommendation, which is really important. I mean, it depends on every college, but some colleges they require like 3 letter of recommendations for every university that you apply to.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was kind of hard for me because getting letter of recommendation from professors in whose subjects I actually failed was kind of hard.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was applying, I did not have good grades. In fact, I used to like fail in at least one subject every semester.
Mm-hmm.
And I was never interested in the electronics coursework and was more inclined towards music when I was studying in my bachelor's. So getting recommendations was a challenge. And one
Mm-hmm.
professor, he when I went to ask him for the letter, he publicly like humiliated me in his office because of
Oh.
my grades. Yeah, in India, like it's kind of like normal for professors to humiliate you, and I faced that in my college. But I did not give up. I tried to get my letters from whichever professor I could. Eventually, I did get them for all 9 universities. And also, another person who helped me was the CEO of the startup I internship at. So
Mm-hmm.
he actually gave me one as well. So yeah, I was able to study in a university in US. So I'm glad about that.
That's great that it worked out. You started studying how many years there in the university in US?
I was studying for about like 2 years. It was a 2 years course.
Mm-hmm.
And over there the university, they taught me like various subjects such as Python for data analysis, Python for automation, statistical courses, and all of this was very tailored towards data science. So my course name was actually business analytics with a
Mm-hmm.
specialization in data science. Because of this, I was able to get some electives in data science as well, which actually helped in my job search, which is actually another story. The job search is actually another story because when I graduated, it was the peak of the pandemic.
Oh.
Yeah, it was May 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was a crazy time because my parents were supposed to come for my graduation in May 2020, but everything froze. Like all airlines canceled, no one was traveling anywhere in 2020.
Yeah.
That was a little bit difficult for me at that time to get a job as well.
I imagine. And like during these years of studies in US, did you feel like this is exactly what you like to do? You find that
Mhm.
passion about what you are doing?
Yeah, some subjects I was passionate about, and also I had some subjects, which were not that great.
Mm.
But studying in USA versus studying in India is like night and day for me. It's completely different.
Mm.
The professors are much more liberal and much more connected with the students, and it's easy to ask questions in universities in USA than in India.
Mm.
But I did have some really nice professors back in India. I have nothing against them, but most of the professors, like I can kind of like sense the relationship between the professors here in US versus India. And yeah, it's very different, and I was able to bond with most of my professors in US. As a matter of fact, like I skipped one. I was skip one exam because I was really sick, and the professor was really nice, and he said, "It's no worries. You can come to my room the next day and write the exam in front of me." I felt
That's
very,
very kind. Mm.
yeah, I was very grateful for him. Like it's very flexible in US. And I think because of the environment also as well. Like even if I didn't like a subject, the professor and the environment made me feel really good, and I was able to get good grades.
I
Yeah.
can understand this. And I can imagine if you get passionate about something, you will be very good at it.
Yeah, that's true. It just comes very, very natural to you when you're like passionate about something. You try to get deeper and deeper and try to understand more about the subject because it just interests you naturally. You don't feel an obligation to, get grades. It's not about the grades anymore for you.
Exactly. How did you overcome the difficult challenge during COVID, and like how you kept going while applying to your job?
At that time, May 2020, peak of COVID, our graduation got postponed to a
Mhm.
later date. We didn't know when. And the sad thing is, like, after you finish college in US, you want a graduation ceremony. And that was kind of like really sad that we didn't have it, because I could have met all my friends for like one last time before I left the city. So that was one sad thing. But yeah, the peak of COVID, most of the companies they went on a hiring freeze, and it was hard to find jobs back then. And I noticed that many of my peers were applying for data science and data analyst jobs, and it was making the market most saturated with these positions. Like you go to any like LinkedIn, Indeed, or any other like job website, like you find so many like data science jobs,
Mhm.
and a lot of people are applying for these jobs, more than like hundreds to hundreds, like so many people applying for the same job. And it was very saturated, and I was thinking, okay, what if I did something other than data science? When I first went for the internship back in India, like data science seemed so like fascinating for me and everything. I wanted to learn more, right? So after I started studying data science in the university, it was more like a mix of data analysis as well. And I was thinking that I want to like engineer stuff. Like I want to engineer data, like
Mhm.
engineer like pipelines, and I want to visualize the data pipelines and all that stuff. That excites me. Like building stuff really excites me. I mean, there is building dashboards also, which
Mhm.
I did for quite some time, but that didn't excite me as much as building data pipelines. So I was thinking, okay, why don't you like go do something else? Like I started looking for data engineering positions. I mean, that's when I started getting into data engineering, started researching during my job search during the pandemic. I took like a crash course for data engineering on Udemy. It was a data engineering on AWS, and I got very interested in that. It was using a service called AWS Glue, Amazon S3, Redshift, and all that stuff it taught me. Because of that, I was able to, get into a different job market for data engineers. And I felt that there were a lot of data engineering jobs as well, but not a lot of people are applying for it. I started applying for data engineering jobs, and eventually I got a call from, recruiter in Miami saying that, they have a data, kind of like a data analyst, data engineering job. Back then, people were still didn't widely accept data engineers. Like data analysts were also kind of doing the data pipelining and stuff. So the job description was a data analyst, but from what I saw, it was mostly data engineering stuff.
Mhm.
And yeah, so the recruiter called me. I had some interview calls, and I passed the interview. There were like three interviews, and thankfully I got a job because I did have both the skills of data analyst and a data engineer.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say, doing that Udemy course and getting into data engineering is the only thing that got me the job, because there were some other factors as well. One of the factors is that in my university there was actually a professional development course.
Mhm.
and it actually taught you about LinkedIn, how to network, how to build branding. When you're in the job market, you can actually network for yourself, and you know how to like tailor your resume for the right job. You have those soft skills, right? So that also like helped me.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Also, I imagine you have some tips you can share also with the audience. It can help them to find their first job, for example.
I can actually speak from experience for like the job search. So when you're doing your job search, what I have done is like I've constantly was applying for 10 plus job positions every day. I just kept it like a standard number, that 10 to 15 job positions per day, and those 10-15 are like really quality ones that I think that I can do. I don't like just randomly apply for the job positions. I do read through the description and see if it's a good fit for me. Second thing is like I use indeed.com for my job search. It's easy to apply for jobs using indeed.com because they have easy apply option. So you just need to like upload your resume once, and when you press the easy apply, your resume just gets sent,
Mhm.
right? Instead of going to the company website and filling all of those forms, uploading your resume and all of that stuff. And LinkedIn helped a lot. In LinkedIn, I was reaching out to recruiters, so I had like an aim for, I should at least connect with 3 recruiters every day in
Mhm.
the field that I'm passionate about. So I was connecting with recruiters. I used to like take all the posts that the recruiter puts on LinkedIn. I used to repost it, or I used to create a blog out of the service they just posted. Like if it's some AWS service, I just take the AWS service, create a blog, and then tag them.
Mhm.
Um, these small things, like if you make time for it, it can actually go a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can keep talking a lot about LinkedIn actually. There was another thing where, they have people have these seminars, and you can attend those. I used to attend the AWS seminars, and I used to like transcribe them and make a blog post out of it so that people can
Mm.
easily read instead of watching the entire you didn't have chat gpt back then, so transcribing was kind of hard, and I kind of like transcribed it and then made it into a blog post for people to easily read. So I did that.
It's a cool idea.
Yeah, so yeah, these are some small tips, yeah, I can share.
Thank you. Yeah, and also I noticed that you have content online, like in Instagram. You make some videos that you share tips with people on the same field. Did you start that during that time, or was it recently?
Oh yes, I do have an Instagram channel. It's called Vijay X Tech,
Mm-hmm.
and I started it very recently. Actually, I started it, I think, this year. Yeah, I started this year. I felt like I wanted to educate more people about technology and AI. Yeah, AI was just permeating everywhere right now in like companies, and people also wanted to learn about all that. And I thought, okay, why not like share stuff about AI and technology in general. And also I like to travel, so it's more of like a lifestyle
Mm.
technology page as well.
Yeah, I like your content. I already follow you.
Oh, thank you
And
so
I will
much.
add also in the description in case people are interested.
Sure, yeah, that would definitely help me. I also do some consulting services. If anyone is interested in tailoring their resume or knowing more about AWS, because since I have like 3 certifications, I can actually help people get the certification in data in the data field
Mhm.
as well.
You did the certification through Coursera, or there is another platform?
So the AWS Solutions Architect certification, that was the first certification I did. So I did the learning through Udemy, and then I had to sit separately for an exam for about 3 hours in one of the testing centers.
Mhm.
So I did that, and then two more certifications. I was the AWS Data Analytics specialty and the AWS Data Engineer Association certificate. So I did that recently. Yeah, these are really good certifications to do if you're thinking about starting a data career in AWS. And it also helped a lot in my interviews as well, when the interviewers were asking about how different AWS services connect with each other. It was easy to like come up with answers and also like build a solution for them.
Yeah, and also when you get certificate and share them on LinkedIn, it's helpful also for recruiters,
Mhm.
recruiters to reach you. And yeah.
Yeah, yes, that is true. Like a lot of recruiters do look for the certifications, because these AWS certifications are not like Coursera certifications where you go to the course and you pay $50 and you get a certification. It's not like that. They have like a separate team at AWS for the certifications who make these exam papers and all of this. There are also a lot of volunteers who are contributing to these question as well. So it's very useful to have these certifications. And as a perk, like if you have one of these certifications, like you can actually get into um, the when you go to the AWS reInvent conference, which happens every year in Las
Mhm.
Vegas, you can get into the builders community, I think. Yeah, it's one of the lounge that only people with certifications can access. So that was like pretty cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So during your job in Miami, you mentioned, do you remember some challenges you have faced during the job? Like, is there something new, for example, working environment? Was it different compared to your previous experience in India?
So the Miami job, it was fully remote, and the
Mm.
internship I did back in India was we had to go to office. So yeah, like transitioning from a on-site internship to a remote working job was very different. But the thing is, the internship that I did was only 3 months, so I did not get to learn a lot about office culture back then.
Mm.
So transitioning to the remote job was fairly easy actually for me, because I thought this was the norm, compared to if someone had worked 10 years on site and they transition to remote. They do realize and miss a lot of things, right? So
Yeah.
that was fairly simple to me. But I did face like obstacles about communication issues at work, because it was remote. And I've noticed that the latency of communication is very different at different companies. So
Mm.
when you're at a startup, when I say latency of communication, I mean like in Slack or Microsoft Teams, like whatever tool that you use to communicate with others. Like when you're in small startups like that, it's usually really fast. Like when you ask someone a question, right, you expect them to reply sooner, like maybe in
Mm.
like 15-30 minutes. That's what I noticed in a previous startup. Like it was the latency of communication was very very short,
Mm.
right? I mean, I understand as a startup culture we need to like move fast, like lean startup, but that was really an issue for me, because sometimes I've always felt like I needed to be on call and waiting for someone's message and have to reply them back.
Mm.
Yeah, so that was one of the obstacles I was faced. And also I was fairly new to the job, fairly new to the whole aspect of working at a job itself, because I didn't like go for a job after graduating from India. Like from a bachelor's I directly went to master's, so I didn't do a job in the corporate. I was not in the corporate world.
Mm.
um
Yeah.
so yeah, in Miami, like it was like I just went into the corporate world and I had to like learn a lot of things, like how to communicate with others properly and how project management looks like. Well, they don't teach you all of this stuff at school, and I had to learn
Yeah.
a lot of things myself. So yeah, these are some obstacles I faced at my job. And I soon realized that almost at the end of 2 years that this data analysis stuff is not working out for me. I like doing more of data engineering.
Mm.
Whenever I used to get data engineering projects at my previous company, I was so excited. But the data analysis, I was not. It was okay for me.
Mm.
But I did have someone to support me, and her name is Supriya, and she actually works at the same company as I work in right now.
Mm.
So like she was the one who actually moved to LiveIntent from my previous company, and I think after
Mm.
a few months after her moving to LiveIntent, like I also like a recruiter from LiveIntent reached out to me, and I also like switched over.
That's really cool. I think when you go to a new company and a new environment, it's helpful to have someone that you know. Did you find guidance?
She was in a different team. She was the business intelligence team, I guess.
Mm.
And I got into the solutions engineering team. I got into that, but I felt that, in this, I was working with a team than working alone.
Mm.
Because back in my previous job, I always felt like I was working alone for the most part. There was no like team, no, not many like team projects that we collaborate with each other and work.
Mm.
But in my when I joined Live Intent, like I in the solutions engineering team, I felt like we were a team and we were all working towards the same goal, like that. Which I totally understand, because thinking back, it was a startup and we were doing different things, and I was wearing a lot of hats, right? So I had to do a lot of things by myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, that actually was really nice to have that sense of a team and community when you're working remotely. I guess I think that's one of the things that people need to look for when they are in the interviewing process itself.
Yeah, you're right. Especially remote work. It's not easy to achieve this. And I think the culture of the company has a big impact into that. Also, I think the team events contribute on that. And
Hmm.
having like common tasks, common meetings across different teams, etc., makes you also
Yeah.
understand the product better.
Yeah, that's true. Like, so the people development team at a company also talks a lot about the company, that they're really invested in people and they're actually paying someone to take care of the people's
Yeah.
development, right? That's a huge thing. So yeah, that's one of the things that I also look for when evaluating companies.
Yeah. And what are your current challenges?
I think current challenges, like I'm overall very happy with my team.
Mm.
Like the team dynamics also is really nice, and every time this team is very collaborative, and we have these backlog grooming sessions and all of that, where everyone gets a sense of what everyone else is working on,
Mm.
and what are the team goals. And we also have these knowledge sharing sessions where we share knowledge about other teams and anything new that you learned. So it's really nice. So I'm learning a lot in this role, and also I'm learning a lot about airflow and data engineering in general.
Mm.
The obstacles that I'm facing, I would say, is mostly like technical. From technical point of view, Python coding in this role is a lot from my previous roles.
Mm.
I'm learning a lot, and also I'm struggling sometimes with airflow. But I've been getting very good guidance from a few people on my team and other teams, during code reviews, or I just have like a chat with them in Slack. Yeah, they've been very helpful, and yeah, I'm so glad that I have really good colleagues on the other teams who help me as well.
Yeah, that's important. Do you feel like there are some next step and you have some plans for the future?
Yeah, it's a good question. I am a lot invested right now in AI. Like I read a lot about AI, LLMs, and how it can help the company.
Mm.
We had a hackathon last time, and me and a colleague of mine, we built a bot, an AI bot, which can answer questions based on the company knowledge. It's pretty cool that we were able to build that. So in future, I feel like I want to like more like iterate on that and build more bots like that, and develop on those AI bots, because the future is going to be natural language. I feel like SQL is going to get a lot less, and people are just going to be querying the database with natural language. So yeah, in order to get to that point, we have to do a lot of developments on the data side, like more documentation on our processes and more annotations. Yeah, we need to organize our whole data infrastructure and the data that we have in order to achieve that. So I feel like I am strongly inclined towards, that path. Going to like build on that basically.
Yeah, it seems AI is the future. It is like now it is used a lot and it's getting more like.
It is getting more like mainstream right now. Yeah, the craze also is, it feels like data science craze like kind of like faded away for a few years. And when companies started realizing that, okay, yeah, data science is cool. Like even at my previous company, we didn't have a data science team, we didn't have anyone data science.
Mhm.
But since everyone was doing data science, we were like, oh, data science is really cool, and we have all of this data, right? And they got in a contractor for data science. And we asked them to do some data science project, but it did not go so well because we did have a lot of data, but the data was not organized. It was a mess, it was here and there. So we have to first get our data organized first, and then bring in the contractor or anyone to hire anyone from a data science team. So yeah, I think it was not only our company. I think that a lot of other companies also start realizing that they just gotten a lot of data, but you can't do data science because you need to do a lot of data cleaning. And even when you have to do data cleaning, like the data needs to be organized in like some way. It needs to be stored in the right format and in the right folders and all that stuff, right? So that's when like data engineering started picking up.
Mhm.
And then data engineering is still not yet saturated. It's still like companies are still hiring for data engineers, I feel.
Yeah.
There's always a demand for data engineers. Yeah, but coming back to my point, yeah, so AI also is going through that phase where everyone is going crazy for AI. But now people are realizing that, oh, okay, we can implement AI so easily, but it's hallucinating like crazy, and we don't want to give our customers wrong information.
Yeah.
So we are kind of like in that path where we want the AI to perform properly. So that, and this is where recently I saw a news where, have you heard of the Humane AI startup? They have that Humane AI pin on their chest.
No, I haven't heard about it.
Basically, it was a bunch of like entrepreneurs, like they went and started this thing called like Humane AI pin, where you just attach it, clip it to your shirt or to your clothes and your chest.
Mhm.
And then it talks to, I believe, chat GPT. And it also has a camera as well, so it can see, and it can answer in apparently real time, but it's been really slow and buggy. So I don't know how the human AI pin is going, but these people started that, but eventually they left it, and now they're starting a company for AI fact checking, because ever more like prevalent that we need someone to do fact checking, someone to
Mhm.
reduce the hallucinations. It's the same, like we need someone to organize the data. We need someone to put the data in the right format. Like you can see the parallels that are being drawn over here.
Mhm.
So I think AI is going in that way, and we need someone to actually reduce the hallucinations. And there's going to be more companies to do better fact checking and other kind of stuff, I feel.
Yeah, like we cannot blindly trust AI, but still it is doing something. I feel like also in the coding, there are like different tools now that also helps on generating codes. If you want to implement some programs it generates, it helps developers, DevOps to generate their solutions, etc. Sometimes people are scared, will AI replace us or something? I think we still are needed, but because of
Mhm.
this, we cannot like 100% rely on AI. At the same time, AI is helpful. Also, we can solve problem faster. But
Mm.
we are the people who drive, not the AI drive us. Hopefully it will stay that way. It just like it makes us more productive if we know how to use it.
Yeah, it definitely makes me 10 times, 20 times productive, because if I just have an idea, idea for a product, I can easily build it because I just need to code in natural language. Yeah, I do
Mm-hmm.
coding in, I kind of like switch to coding in natural language sometimes. And that's what people like who have not been in tech, who are getting introduced to tech, they're starting off, doing all of this stuff of no code and just coding in. Just ask, your AI, we want to build this website, and it does for you with certain features and all of this. But I do feel that the engineers and the technical people who know coding and who understand code, like, they are really important as ever right now. Because yeah, AI right now, like, we don't trust AI to actually write very good code. Like, we need someone to proof check the code and then push it to production. Like, I wouldn't imagine like someone just asking the AI to write some code and put it to production.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You can't
Yeah.
do that. Although in future the amount of engineers they might reduce. Hopefully that doesn't happen soon. But amount of engineers will reduce. Like, they will be senior engineers who will have to like look at the code and see what's happening. Then push it to production, or whatever they want to do. But I really hope at some point that AI writes better code than us. That even we can't understand what's happening. So
Yeah, and we will still be important because there will be always bugs, and the knowledge of like that we have built during these years, it is
mhm.
useful to like yeah to find out, and the people who implement and build these tools using AI are humans like us also, so we are still useful.
Yeah, yeah, we are still, yeah, we are still useful at some point. But I think like people in future, 10 years from now, there'll be other things which are like more important than coding. Yeah, I think people should be aware of those things, just like spending time with family and getting to know themselves better. What it means to be human, that'll be a question that everyone will be thinking. Because we were always meant to make art, or we were supposed to be engineering something. And if something else has taken over that, then what it means to be human. So yeah, I think those will be like really exciting times.
Yeah. And is there anything else you would like to share related to your journey before we wrap up?
Nothing much. I know it's a very bad job market. A lot of my friends are like searching for, jobs, like data analyst jobs or marketing analyst jobs. I would just tell people that, be a little daring and venture into data engineering as well. Learn how to build a basic data pipeline on any tool that like Airflow or AWS, because that can be a really good deciding factor whether you get the job or not. Because
Mm-hmm.
just knowing data analysis and building dashboards, it will help. But to be a little bit ahead of your peers, like if you know how to engineer the data pipeline and power the dashboard, like if I were the recruiter, I would hire you. Because
Mm-hmm.
if the data engineer is on vacation, I know that you can handle that job as well. So yeah, that's small thing I wanted to share.
Good hint. And I usually ask about the advice that you would like to share. It is related to something that you have learned and you felt maybe it would be better if you know it earlier. So you can share it with the audience who are starting their journey.
Yeah, one advice I would give is, making mistakes is really fine. Back when I was in my previous job, like I used to make a lot of mistakes, and I feel very bad about it. Like maybe wrong code got pushed to production, and deleted some tables. Uh,
Oof. Yeah.
yeah, it's fine. You can learn from those mistakes and be a better tester and a coder, but have that in the mindset like, hey, I can learn from these mistakes. Like, you don't always no need to always think that, oh, I'm always going to keep making these mistakes again and again. I think mistakes is just part of the journey, and embrace making failures, and people will actually appreciate that.
Yeah, that's right. Without failure, it means that we are not trying, because every time when we try something new, for sure, we will not get it right at the first time. Always needs
Yes.
some adjustments. The most important that whatever happens, always keep going, and this is like what will make you better and better. If you need to rest, it's okay. You can rest and keep going.
Yeah, do take your vacation days and travel somewhere. You get good perspective. Yeah,
Yeah,
don't always keep working.
exactly. I really enjoyed our conversation, and many points that you mentioned during your journey. I felt like I connected with them because of like some common experiences. Thanks a lot
Hmm.
for sharing about your journey.
Thanks a lot, VM, for doing this. It was really nice to share my journey on your podcast, and I hope you keep doing more podcasts. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm looking forward to our next episode with a new guest and new inspiring story. Until then, stay safe and stay tuned to our next episode. Tic Tac, tackle the inspiration.